Welcome back. It's still the breakfast on Plus TV Africa. We will be talking about health this time around. Now, human life is well adapted to the planet. A healthy environment is essential to optimal health and well-being. Conversely, disease and early death are often due to environmental agents called pathogens, both biological and physiochemical. Climate change, heat waves, floods, land degradation, and the loss of biodiversity also threaten human health in a variety of ways, both direct and indirect. On World Health Day 2022, through the Our Planet, Our Health campaign, the World Health Organization is focusing global attention on urgent actions needed to keep humans and the planet healthy. Joining us now to share his thoughts on Our Planet, Our Health is public health practitioner, Dr. Tuyi, Mebawondu. Thanks for joining us on the breakfast on Plus TV Africa.
Good morning, Justin.
Yeah.
Good morning, viewers.
Yeah, good morning to you, Doctor. So, Doctor, today is World Health Day. Before we get into the theme, why is a specific day, set aside to talk about health in the whole world?
Well, again, today corresponds to the day that WHO was founded. Sometimes in 1948, there was the first assembly, what we call World Health Assembly, was convoked. And then after that, 2 years later, it was now made what we call the World Health Day, where we have to discuss specific issues that relating to health and environment or health and our larger community. So today, yes, since then, since 1950, we've set aside April 7 as the celebration of World Health Day. And of course, we cannot just get tired of talking. And of course, this year theme is very apt, our planet, our health, because it is only on this planet that we live, we move, and have our beings. We can't, separate ourselves from this planet. Human beings are yet to be interplanetary beings. We can't stay in the moon yet. We can't stay in Mars yet. We still just have to hang around here where we have sufficient environment to keep us alive. And since we are now having what we call climate crisis will inadvertently lead to health crisis, obviously, because we're connected to the climate and the planet. And because of the rise of what we call Anthropocene activities, human interaction on this physical plane is causing a lot of challenges to everything and to our health. And we have seen it in the rise of respiratory diseases like asthma. We have seen it in the rise of cancers, which is now becoming the thing, and the cardiovascular diseases. We've seen it in the shortage of water and diarrhea diseases. We've seen it in germs jumping from animals, from the wild into human being and causing pandemic or epidemic, as the case may be. We've seen it in loss of biodiversity, that even in reality some plants, some animals, you're not seeing them again. And then this has a really serious deleterious effects on our health. And of course, we need to start focusing on what I would call planetary health. We need to focus on planetary health because a healthy planet will give us healthy humans. And that should be our focus right on.
Okay, so let's get straight to the focus. I mean, when we get to talk about the issue of, different issues. I mean, we've had several times we've talked about autism, we've talked about different diseases and different ailment. Usually it boils down to the lifestyle, it boils down to, what we do as a people, our activities over the time. So the question here would be, what can we do as we live on the planet or as we're in the planet now, to protect our health?
Yeah, indeed. If you look at it, on air pollution alone, we record as much as 30 million deaths, every blessed year, And then we've been on COP. We did COP21 last time.
What's COP?
Committee, the climate discussions, committee of parties, the COP discussion that discussed climate issues. Nigeria was there. The last one was in Glasgow or so, where we've been discussing issues relating to environment, to climate, and to health. And in fact, we've seen that as much as we're pushing for fossil fuel, as much as we're engaged in deforestation, we're also impacting our health. As much as we cannot get the right food to eat, and we have to create alternative that leads to obesity, and then sedentary lifestyle. All these things are actually impacting on human, and human is the most important, is the most fundamental thing in terms of how this earth is going to be or this planet is going to be. Now, what do we need to do? Because again, like I said, we have to start local at global. Individuals, again, what role are you playing in assuring the biodiversity? First and foremost, you know that there's a population limit, that the earth can contain. We've seen rise in population. Look at Lagos, for instance. The place is congested, dirty, and just polluted. That is not how human beings should live. So first and foremost, individually, we have to reduce the generation of waste products that will impact on the environment. Our water surveys, we have to, because what we're seeing is that we're seeing polluted water, plastic in the ocean, plastic on mountain, plastic entering our food chains. And these are one of the things that is causing a lot of challenges for us health-wise. So we need to do that. We need to actually ensure quality air, because you see that everywhere in Lagos, you look up, it's smoky. You are inhaling things that's going to damage your system and alter your DNA and lead to cancer and crazy behaviors. It's impacting on our mental health in many ways. So our water supply, our air quality, the way we live, the housing planning, all these things, feed into how the planet, how we interact with the planet. And from now on, we should always include what I call, they used to do what we call environmental impact assessment. We should also include, as a sub-team, health impact assessment on every project we're doing. If I'm building an estate, what is the health impact assessment? We must be able to look at it holistically in terms of environment, not just the fact that somebody is going to stay in the house, okay? If you're doing road, if you're doing drainage, you have to look at what we call the health impact assessment, because it's going to impact on the environment is going to impact on it. So we have to create that consciousness and improve the conversation on how our planet is related to our health and how our health is related to our planet.
All right, doctor, okay, go ahead.
Okay, just as a follow-up, before Justin comes in now. Well, you understand that the issue of Lagos and, most states that are populated, it's an economic concern. And because people would always gravitate towards where they think that you have resources and opportunity, I mean, it's just an instinct for human beings. So the issue of survival will always be key. And that's why you have people gravitating towards Lagos. And like you have mentioned, the issue of congestion, because you have a lot of people, I don't know if we can get to a point where we say we reduce how much of the waste that we generate, because the population that you have would always mean that you would have to. But maybe how we manage the, waste that we're generating might be also another concern. But how do we explain this? Should there be, a policy action, or should this come from an individual standpoint? I mean, I'm saying this out of a point of view that, Justin, you remember when we had the conversation around autism?
Yes.
And the fact that, yes, autism is just there, no cost, but there's some risk factor. And like he has mentioned, you could be exposed to unhealthy environment, and that could trigger, a lot of threats. And so that's where I'm coming from. So how do we address this issue? For instance, Lagos, we understand the fact that people would always, urban-rural drift would always be on the high because of the economic importance and the economic opportunities.
The critical thing is this, we have to really structure economic policy to focus on environmental safety, to focus on our planetary safety, on planetary health and individual health. So you can drive economic activities like that. For instance, we'll be doing a lot of fossil fuel. We can move to recyclable energy. We can move to using products. In fact, now people are talking about biodegradable plastics. So those are key policy issues that can then help us to drive urban distance. Then rural-urban drift is due to economic policies. But again, we've seen that with the advent of COVID, you don't really need to have to stay in Lagos to work in Lagos now. So we have to really, increase the conversation in that regards, and then try to expose our rural area to development. We can't just focus and put everything in a small corner of land and think that we're not going to have confusion and problems. Now, the global insecurity is also a factor that is impacting on the environment and, of course, affecting health. So security, both personal security and food security are key. Policy now, because what we're trying to do is that we're looking for a clean city, a city with clean air, good food supply, and then clean environment. We're looking at that, so good water source. And then we're looking at economic policy that would drive, that can actually be health friendly. So in the future, a developed country will be categorized based on their ability to have clean air, clean water, and not the fact that you have a GDP. I don't even know why everybody call with what is GDP. It's a fraudulent contraption to measure how wealthy I am. So these are key issues. Am I having clean air? Am I having good water to drink? Is there enough biodiversity? Those are the quality that shows development.
No, so even if people, I mean, if it's a mention of GDP, usually there's always a need for it to reflect in the standard of living of the people. I mean, so GDP is, nobody speaks of GDP independently, but we're saying that if you say your economy, you know, is strong, we want to see how it translates into the standard of living, just like you have mentioned. And so access to basic issues that you have mentioned is very apt. So GDP is not discussed independently.
Let's leave
GDP alone. I'm not afraid of GDP.
Doctor, you know, when you were talking about biodiversity and all of that, you talked about plastics. It's something I want us to really talk about, right? Rather, because we do a whole lot with plastics. Almost everything we do right now is done in plastics. We store food in plastic. We eat food from plastic. We buy food, you know, from plastics and every other thing. And sometimes these plastics, you know, still find their way back into the ocean, and they affect, you know, the marine life and the fishes that we eat. What are the impact of these plastics to the health? Let's bring it down home to Nigeria.
Well, for instance, if you look around our waterways, for instance, Lagos, and you look at the dump sites, you know, all around the country, you see the preponderance of plastics in our dump sites, in the water, everywhere, in the gutters, everywhere, plastics everywhere. So again, you know that these are actually chemical products. Invariably, it enters into the water, fish got to swallow some of those things, and then we eat the fish, and part of the plastic then enter into our system. You know, there are a lot of chemicals in the plastic production process that, you know, though, yeah, plastic is not biodegradable, but there's all these chemicals that will invariably poison the ocean, poison the land, and poison humans. So, and then, of course, we've seen that those chemicals are linked to the polyethylene carbons, you know, the products, you know. They are linked to cancers. They are linked to organ failure. They are linked, you know, sometimes we see increased cases of renal failure. We see increased cases of cardiac problems. This are even mental challenges or you know, nervous degenerations. You know, these are linked to some of those chemicals that leach into water from plastic. So now the way to go about it is to actually, you know, of course, raise the concerns, raise the discussion on all those things, and then see a way to actions to actually clean our oceans, clean our land from plastic, and then push for reusable plastics that, you know, you don't have to, the throwaway culture put a lot of challenges on us. We have to eat and throw away, eat and throw away. So what reusable, recyclable, and then degradable plastics, that's the future of the environment as far as possible.
So let's quickly talk about this one. I mean, yesterday we experienced the rain in Lagos, and we know what happens when it rains. So our planet, our health, what are we going to do with this one? Flooding is a major issue. Major issue. Know, and in some countries outside, you know, of Nigeria, I wouldn't want to say outside of Africa, or, you know, but I would like to stay with Nigeria. Usually, some people would say flooding might be a natural disaster, but for us, it's man-made. How do we solve this problem? It's a major issue because usually when we have the rain come, you have that a lot of people lose, there's loss of life. People get carried by the flood water, you know, flood will come to their houses and what have you, lives and properties will be lost. So we're approaching the rainy season. How do we protect our planet and protect our health?
Yeah, we know that actually what we are seeing in the world are extremes of conditions because of the climate change. Yeah, some places you see excessive flooding, some you see drought. So depending on where you are. And then, of course, like storms and all those things, hurricanes, they increase. So what happens with flooding essentially is that not just the fact that it carries human beings, not just the fact that it destroys properties. You know, there are a lot of you know, water-related diseases, okay, with diarrheas, you know, mosquito breeds, and then can then transmit a lot of diseases, including dengue, fever, malaria, and all those things. So we see dysentery, we see typhoid increasing, you know, of course. These are critical issues that affect health. So, and then sometimes it contaminates our real source of water supply, it carries plastic, carries feces, carries everything. So these are key issues. What we need to do, government for need to be able to create channels for water to flow. It's very essential. You need to clean our gutters, ensure drainage, you know, as the rain falls. And then as the rain is falling, we need to have what I call the early warning signs. Rain is coming, gentlemen, take care of this, your water source, take care of that. don't just put your leg in the water. You know, if you have these symptoms, call this number, see these people. We need to improve that conversation so that people know that, you know, during the rainy season, it's not like the same as dry season. So globally, we still have to keep on talking about the, you know, climate change, COP, of course, 21. Thank God America is back into the COP panel now, the Paris Agreement. That's what we call the Paris Agreement. America is back. During Donald Trump, they left, and they're just a big player in those things because, and you look at it, the great polluters of this world, they are the ones who are with that high GDP. How do you now rationalize that? How do you now bring the great polluters? GDP. Yes, the great polluters of the world are in China, they're in US, they're in yes. How do you now rationalize them having the highest GDP? Why me that is actually trying to manage my own thing, you are putting problem on me?
No. All right. But doctor, but just before we go, let's talk about COVID-19. You know, it's as though we are doing well. That's what I'm really thinking, because the federal government is lifting midnight curfews and crowd restrictions. And just the other time, they told us about that use of face masks are no longer mandatory, you know, discretionary. So how would you rate COVID-19 management vis-a-vis the announcement that the federal government made just yesterday?
Does it mean that COVID has...
Are we just going in the same direction as Britain?
Lucky we that the deleterious effect of COVID-19 is not really strongly felt. Lucky we're very lucky. We have enough stress. Maybe nature just thought that we had enough stress. Now, when the Omicron variant came up, I had actually repeated that this may be the variant we're looking for. Because the critical thing is that it is easily transmissible, but it's less virulent, okay? And that's the perfect way virus will behave. When they mutate and get to a point where they can jump, because it's not in their own interest to kill you. So when they can jump from one person to another and not kill the person and use the person to jump to another person, that's the perfect, you know, viral evolution. So now we are nearly getting to that point. When you get to that point, you know that it's not, because what you're afraid of is the death. We are not going to get, well, all we're praying now is that we don't get more mutation. So yes, rightly so, that because since we're not having a lot of positive cases coming up, or even severe cases, let's use that word, maybe we have dropped our testing, but we're not seeing severe cases. It's ready to actually lower your guard a bit. But, you know, the vigilance must continue. You know, the vigilance must continue. We must be able to do, you know, genomic vigilance. Look at the sequencing, the type of mutation that is coming in the virus, because for all you care, one can just misbehave like bandits on Kaduna Road. Somebody can just behave like that. So we have to be on the watch out. So the fact that if today, you know, Shanghai is in a lockdown, okay, and some Americans are thinking of the third, fourth, you know, doses of the vaccine. So we shouldn't fold our arm and figure out that, oh, okay, you know what, all weather fine, we're not having a problem. It's nice for us to relax, but it's also important for you to continue the conversation. Especially
so the reason that the government has actually given is the fact that you look at the effect of it, we're not recording cases. I mean, we're strong.
We're not testing cases.
We're
not testing
you know,
cases.
I mean, that's what we're saying. You're saying that, you know, the figures have actually dropped. And we have been very strong on vaccination. But reports coming from the United Kingdom saying that since they had relaxed, you know, the restriction, the cases have actually gone very high. And I'm sure that this is something that the media is actually not reporting at this point. So the big question here is, we remember how we have struggled with COVID-19, 2 years and counting. And all of a sudden, we're asking, the world is, you know, some part of the world, everyone is relaxing. We're saying, you know, let's take off. It's not compulsory to wear the nose masks in different places, even though the government is still saying, oh, government, you know, offices and organizations should be responsible and take precaution. But midnight curfew have been lifted, and all of those gatherings stopped. So it brings us back to saying that, is it that COVID has gone?
No. I can understand the lifting of the midnight curfew. For what? COVID is not a midnight worker, so it's not that, you know, it's a nocturnal jam. It's not a nocturnal virus. So even during the day, it can. But again, we can't drop our guard as far as those basic public health intervention is concerned. I don't know the rationale. Okay, wait a minute. Yes, mask is not just for COVID. I think, you know, there are a lot of respiratory, you know, pollutions, pollutants, irritants, germs that we can pick from respiratory. So again, we should have actually incorporated this into our lifestyle so that we don't really see much of that, or even hand washing and all those, some little distance. We can also spread other diseases. I think we should have, you know, actually why we're not putting restrictions and, compulsory testing here and there. We should have actually encouraged those non-pharmaceutical intervention to keep us on guard. And you can trust Nigerians, especially the naysayers and what I call the doubters. Often say, we told you that there's no COVID now. You see, government has finally come back to the thing. May we not have a mutant strain that will challenge our public health system, which we don't have anyway. So, for me, it's neither here nor there. If I were to be in the position of government, yes, I would lift other things, leave that COVID and rest, but I would still insist on some that measures.
So is it like we don't have, variant that are really so severe? That is why we are lifting these restrictions, or is it that we now manage COVID-19 better in the country? All the interventions that we've talked about, all the public health concerns that we have mentioned, we have addressed them?
We have not addressed anything. Justin, you go around, even at the peak of COVID, how many people were using masks? Okay, how many vaccinations do we do? How many testing do we do? We never got beyond that. How many even the vaccine we did? We never. Our first dose never passed 5 million. So out of a population of so-called 200 million plus. So it's not that, you see, if you want to measure what we did, it's not that we have done spectacularly better than those countries that are having, resurgence now. You can't claim you've done better than China, or even some part of the US. But again, for whatever, I say lucky we. That's the only thing I can say. But lucky we cannot then plan health strategy on luck. You cannot just wake up and say that, oh, I've always been lucky. Let me now, calm down. But, the lesson we're not learning. We're not, to see that, okay, this is the point to actually step up non-public health interventions in health. Washing hands will prevent a lot of diseases apart from COVID, Covering your nose will prevent a lot of respiratory problems, apart from COVID. And then keeping social distance will also prevent a lot of things, in a way. So we still put those things in the context, But the only thing we can say that if you are vaccinated, then we can give you leeway, probably not to take your, wear masks in that regard, or something in that sort. But for us to just wake up and say, okay, wait a minute, go back to your life as normal. Well, there's always Holy Ghost protecting us.
So is it like, because some people would say that we are too quick to want to follow the Western world in their, the approach to things. Britain, they lifted some of these restrictions, and so far we are also doing the same. When COVID was really, really very active in 2020, 2021, there was this talk of herd immunity and all of that. Is that a situation right now?
Listen, we've not actually done a lot of study to push to see that herd immunity. Of course, like I told you, what the virus does, what a typical virus or a respiratory virus does is that it mutates rapidly. When it mutates rapidly, it gets to a point. Well, if a very virulent virus will not last, matter of fact, because you kill the person that's supposed to help you transmit to another person, and then you're also dead. So the Omicron variant was the perfect virus that you can jump from one person to another, will not cause severe disease, will just go away again and jump to another person. You have immunity, definitely, no doubt. But how long does this immunity last? It's still a big question. How long the immunity lasts. So the major problem in disease is the death, morbidity, and mortality. If you're not having severe morbidity, you're not having severe mortality, human beings will always cope with the disease. I think that's where we are now. We're not experiencing severe morbidity and mortality, and we feel like, okay, what the heck, let's focus on some other things, okay? I think that's where we are with COVID. But that we're copying the the Western world, who else do you copy? No, it will be quite interesting. Do you want me to copy, those Yahoo, what's it called, those ritualists? No, but we're talking about health. Health is a global thing.
No, we understand that it's a global thing. We understand that health is a global issue, and some of the issue. I mean, at the time where Nigeria, we had to deal with Ebola. Was it a global issue?
It was a pandemic because it's an African issue. In fact, it killed people in the US, jumped to Germany. It was all around the place.
So I understand, but we found the way. The point is, because what is looking like right now, we followed the story, we followed the reports. We remember the time where Boris Johnson had a big, deal with answering questions. He was being challenged why he was breaking protocols, having parties, and not too short after, all of those concerns that were raised. Why was he having parties in the midst of COVID-19, where you have restrictions that saying, oh, you're not supposed to have large gatherings? And not too long after that, you had, the United Kingdom being very specific, saying that, hey, we're relaxing all of the restrictions. Now, like I said, the cases which the media might not be reporting, I'm having, some interaction with people over there, and they're saying that, the cases have actually surged as we speak right now. So it feels like we are just waiting. It's like we're replicating whatever happens. So we wait and see, okay, they have said they are relaxing the restrictions. Nigeria, we come up and say we're relaxing.
I don't think it's that.
So what's the basis on
I don't
the premise?
think it's that. It's not A is equal to B. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Because
so, but on what
in our own
premise
case,
now?
what they've told you is that, one, they're not seeing more cases. They're not seeing fatality. The more positive cases are not coming. That's what they told you in Nigeria.
So it's a coincidence then? It's clashing with what?
No, because, you see, the point is that if they claim they're not seeing cases, and they say, okay, what is the need for night curfew? It's not necessary. Why do you have to? Is the mask on? I'm not. That is not too clear to me. But what happened is that, you see, there's a at the level of World Health Organization and different health bilateral and multilateral institutions, there are protocols for a lot of things. That if you have epidemic, this is the way what you do so that it does not kill you. This is how to respond. There's a general protocol for those things. Now, and that's also what was applied. Ebola is not new, only that it just entered West Africa and started killing people suddenly. It's not new. So, in a way, there has been a protocol to respond to that. What we did was that we had a government that responded appropriately and be able to curtail it. That also happened. Thank God it was not a respiratory virus, so it will have actually spread further than that. But, be that as it may, it doesn't mean that we're copying,
So we're not replicating. It's not the case of copy. Because the question that people want to ask.
You see, people...
No, Dr. Tuyi,
I want them to clearly tell me options. You see, people make noise, they say all sorts of things. What is your option? If you are not following those protocols, what are you going to do?
No, so
what are they going to do?
So basically, because we have to probe and interrogate, some of these policy actions and, decision of government. If we're saying that we're not wearing the nose bags, let's look at how far we fared when we had COVID on top of our case. I mean, the fact that we're battling with it, the world was battling with it in terms of research. How effective were we, resources pooling, researching and trying to find independent solution to solving it? Or because I really don't know. You can tell me, you're the practitioner and you are more exposed, to the health sector than I am. So I'd like to find out, because it's based on this premise that we're asking all of this question. If you look at our body language when we had it, how were we responding to it? How were we treating vaccination? You have mentioned when countries of the world were talking about, what's it called again? The shots, booster shots. We're still grappling with the fact that some people have not even taken the first shot. Some people have not gotten the first shot. And you need to take the first shot and take the second before you talk about the booster shot. So how much of the population have been vaccinated? So how come we're getting to this point? So, I mean, it's based on this premise that we're asking all of this questions.
Yes, we know that if you crunch our data in terms of health, whether the input means buildings, health workers, equipment, funds, those are inputs. We're way down there, less than 4% of our budget committed to health, most of them on recurrent expenditure. We're not doing research, universities are closed down, we're not producing doctors, majority of them have gone. You see, it's a really sad statistic. But what has happened is that, we're here, COVID is here, and now we're not seeing more of those transmission, according to them, because I don't know how much of the tests they do, we're not seeing. And they must appear to be acting. So, but for me, we have to keep up the vigilance. Even if you say drop your mask, interact, go to party, hug yourself, you have to keep up the vigilance. The vigilance means that there must be an improved testing and genomic sequencing to see whether we're having a mutant strain of the virus, or whether the virus is still attenuating, getting weaker, or we're having a mutant strain of the virus. Right. So if we drop those things, we must increase our genomic surveillance. We must increase our genomic surveillance to see the new set of virus that is coming. But again, good enough, we have support in that regard. We have a lot of people trying to support, the other countries trying to support in that regard to do that genomic sequence. But as far as we are concerned, no comments.
All right, Doctor, since we're talking about health generally, we've talked about the federal government lifting these restrictions. Let's talk about other health. Since today is World Health Day, let's talk about other health challenges that we have in Nigeria right now. Since this week, we've been having increased reported cases of Lassa fever across the country. What do we have in our hands?
Well, we have, we talk every day. It's become tired, and now it's expired. In a way, all our speech, trying to talk and see how health can be done. The first critical case in health is that you need HRH, human resources for health.
At what level?
At every level.
Okay.
Human resources for health, I'm talking about the input nurses, laboratory, pharmacists, doctors, epidemiologists. You need all those people to build your health. You cannot be building health on the internet. It's a waste of time. Or searching Google. No, that's not health. You need that. But we are not there. Sadly enough, we're not there. We're not doing enough, on our health system. And because of that, we've seen increased, we have what we call endemic diseases, that are seasonal. Okay, and then we have the upcoming diseases that will spike. We have non-communicable diseases. So in our hands now, because of these anthropocene activities, human activities, we're getting closer to those those animals, and they are giving us germs every time. I can sit down and tell you that by December now we'll have another spike of Lassa fever. So you ask yourself, what are they doing? The NDC, this is what you just wake up when the spike comes up and say, okay, we're creating an emergency operation center. It's like, looking for hose to pour water on every fire instead of preventing the fire. So what is the prevention? Okay? It means continuous epidemiological surveillance, even in the rats, with the farmers, how they do their crop. It's a spectrum. Okay, it's not something you isolated, because when the Lassa fever will announce itself, it will announce itself inside an hospital, killing the doctor or killing the nurse. That's why, we have a Lassa fever in our hand, and then we start running helter-skelter, kitty-kata, like that person said. So so what we need to do is that surveillance to look at it and say, wait, these are farmers, okay? These are the early warning signs of Lassa fever. Let them know, okay? This is how to preserve food, because we're talking about a rat eating your food, or come in contact with you to give the virus. That is the simple thing now. So as long as you can prevent the contact between human and that rat, you are not going to get the Lassa fever. How can that be so difficult? Okay? There is agricultural practice involved. There's a farming practice involved. There's food and nutrition security involved. There's health. There's education involved. So we have to look through this spectrum to be able to understand how to prevent Lassa fever and so many other things, because now, even on our hands, unfortunately, a few days ago, I lost a friend to cancer, very sad, beautiful, wonderful young man. Another two of my friends just fell down on their seats and collapsed and died. Okay? Why should that be happening? And we have seen increased non-communicable diseases. Guys are on drugs. They're just on all sorts of drugs. Their mental state is not just there. Violence is increasing. Okay, so we're not looking at all these things as input into our health and security of a country. If you don't have health security, what security do you now have? So, it's a gamut of problems, a huge issues that, I don't know how to raise the conversation, but we'll try as much as possible to keep talking about it. But all of us should be able to start from our own point of view and say that I want to stay healthy as much as I can. So
let's pick it up from there now. All of us, standing, because we constantly would always want to depend on the government for everything. And like you have mentioned, it's a lot. Talking about the input, you're talking about the resources, you're talking about a whole lot. Recently, we saw the story of a young lady who lost her life here in Lagos. And I think, the hospital has been being closed down, shut down, and the reason for all of that is negligence, you know, lack of professionalism and what have you. But so let's come down to us now. It's a good thing that today is World Health, you know, World Health Day, and it brings us to the point where we talk about we being responsible. So how can we, at all levels, how can we be responsible, take responsible for ourselves? We're not even limiting this to diabetes. We're not talking about hypertension. But what can we do to protect ourselves while we are, you know, on planet Earth?
Well, lifestyle is key. You know, we have to be able to look at some things and drop some activities that is not going to promote our health. It's very key. You know, basic hygiene, these are things you can do, you know.
Basic hygiene, when you say basic hygiene?
You wash your hands, okay? You keep your environment clean. You prevent the growth of disease vectors, okay? Water accumulating in your place, you try to drain it, you know, and then prevent your garden or your grass, cut them very well. So those are very key, you know, so, and then you avoid crowd as much as possible. If somebody is coughing near you, you have to cover your nose, or if you are coughing, you have to cover your nose so that you don't contaminate anybody. But that's then again, there are habits, you know. Why will you go 2 nights without sleeping? You have to sleep. He gave us his beloved sleep. Maybe he's reading your Bible.
That's what the Bible says.
Yes.
No, not everyone believes in the Bible.
No, okay, he doesn't. The body will tell you to sleep. I don't care whether it's the Bible or not. The body will tell you to sleep. Sleep. Sleep does a lot of things. For you, find the time to sleep. Now, we can worry about so many things. Over the weekend, last weekend or so, we were on the riverine with some people, with some foreigners. We were on the riverine, part of Ekwe, visiting those villages, trying to do some work there. And then it hits me that, you know, all the goats in the villages, all the desert, they were walking around oblivious of Boko Haram, oblivious of whether one government is performing or not. So again, it's a mindset. You'll be able to tune your mind to have that kind of peace.
So you're saying we
So
should act
go
like
back to
goats?
the hinterland.
No, they're not acting like ghosts. It's sensible. You know, I mean, it's sensible because again, you look at it. The one you can do, please do. That is very key. The one you can do, please do. Don't wait for government. And then you must be able to cultivate the habit of doing a checkup on yourself. Okay. If you're going to have a number of 2 people, a security person and a medical doctor. Talk to somebody that, please, this is I need to do a checkup. Depending on your age, some once in a year, some once in 2 years will be sufficient. If you have any symptoms, don't say that, you know, I'm covered by whatever blood. Cover yourself with knowledge first. And don't always take the knowledge from internet as your compass. That's just nothing as far as health is concerned. Seek real knowledge. Improve your health literacy. You know, ask questions. Make a call. You know, and don't delay treatment of any symptom, because ordinary headache is a warning that you need to do something more important. So in our calculation, because the key thing is that even some of us that are struggling to, you know, to maintain some financial comfort, it's a real struggle. God forbid, a challenging health situation will revert the person to poverty, because now there's no health system to treat you. Okay, and when they say that, you know, go and bring even MRI, go and bring 70,000. The treatment, the cost of treatment is 4.4 million. You'll be wondering where you're going to get that. And there's no safety net. There's no safety net to help you. Government is not going to pay. The family that provides support for all of us is broken down. Nobody wants to give a damn of his money because they don't really have in the first instance. The health fund, what do they call it, National Health Insurance, is covering just about 2% of the population of Nigeria.
I was going to talk about that.
Most of them are government workers, okay, who can actually fly abroad again. So we are just left, you know, to just float on our own. So taking decision personally at your level becomes key. What have I done lately to my health? It is very key.
All right, Doctor, as we wrap up on this particular discussion, still on the theme of the World Health Day, our planet, our health, I just want you to just advise Nigerians generally on your last word on what they need to do and what they need to be conscious, what narrative needs to be changed, and what conversations we should be having concerning the planet and our health. Well,
like I said in the beginning, yeah, it is here we live, we move, we have our being. We can't go anywhere. That's our biggest environment. You can't go anywhere. If you pollute it, what goes on comes around. What goes around comes around. At the end, you know. So if you mess it up, because now you have to be responsible how you relate to the environment. You have to. You cannot just wake up and start burning fire anyhow and releasing. If your car is smoking, you can't just have to really mess up the environment by putting more carbon dioxide into the environment. You don't have to increase your noise level. You can easily talk like I'm talking and everybody will understand you. You don't have to shout and make life more unbearable for other people. You know, and then, you know, the simple thing is that, you know, your water source, you know, your water source is very key. I know there's no light for you. Don't worry. Open your window. Put net so that mosquito won't bite you. I know there's issue of security. Be vigilant. What else can you do? So focus on your life. Focus on your health, because it's only when you are healthy that you can enjoy any money you are going to make and live a balanced life. You know, a balance of work, rest, and recreation. Recreation. Listen to music. You know,
very apt.
Come and listen to my set of jazz. You'll be calm. Not all those music that will ask you to go and do rituals. It's a mental, and then run away from intoxicating substances. No, especially, you know, drugs that have psychoactive properties. You know, it's going to mess up your mental health.
All right. A whole lot you have said today concerning our health, and thank you so much, Dr. Tuyi Mebawondu, for your time. I'm sure Nigerians have learned a whole lot concerning what they need to do to save the planet and to save, you know, their own lives as well. Thank you so much yet again.
It's my pleasure always.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate you. And that's the size of our conversation. If you missed out on any part of it, it's okay to follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and do subscribe to YouTube channel. It's at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. Many thanks for watching. I am Mebawondu. Have a great day.
And I'm Justin Akadenya. Many thanks for being a part of the show. Let's keep the conversation flowing. Let's keep on talking about healthy lifestyle, you know, lifestyle modification. We need to be conscious about our health. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Return again tomorrow. Bye for now.